hail where?
And Poblacion.
Poblacion.
San Remio.
Yes,
Or Bada.
we're near to Hagnaya Port. Tim is filming, and we have Gulmina here, who's my trusty assistant on this mission. And we have a lovely young lady, and we have a blue bike with blue shirts and even blue sandals. I mean, these folks are blue, and they're blued out. They have the Coke bottle of all Coke bottles. So it's an amazing thing. You like that Coke bottle, huh? I wish there was some Coke in it. That's the only problem. So while we're waiting for them to fix the truck, and so we can get this aid that we have in the truck to all the people affected by the storm in Bantayan Island, we are just enjoying a little bit of water. We're hanging out with the nice people here in the Philippines, and we're even feeding the dogs. We had some bones and things, some meat for the dogs that Gulmina has been feeding all the stray animals in the Philippines, whatever she can. So we're just doing everything we can to get this truck fixed so we can move on in our mission. Thank you. Over and out.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this very special presentation. Today, we're going to be interviewing somebody who's been around the world and done all sorts of philanthropy. He's a very, very well-known face on the scene, and we're really grateful he could take some time out today to tell us about the wonderful work he's doing at the moment. Live from Islamabad, we've got Todd Shea with us. Todd, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us very quickly.
Atif, thank you for having me, and I'm a big fan of Apex TV and Dr. Suhail Chugtai and his team, so it's great to be here.
Oh, we're all fans of his. We're all fans of Dr. Saab. He's a wonderful person. Todd, thanks again for taking the time. You're in Islamabad right now, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, great. How's the weather over there? Everything's good?
It's a little bit too cold for a lot of people. Perfect for me.
Perfect for you, of course, because you're coming from much colder places, I imagine.
Well, actually, coming from a very hot place in Philippines, so
yes, of course.
It was so much hot there without electricity much of the time, or even a fan or AC. So it was, pretty hot and really nice to be in the cool weather now.
So, I mean, you've touched upon the Philippines there. So, obviously, you've been doing some disaster relief work over there recently, and the situation there hasn't been highlighted as much as it probably should. And there's a lot happening. When did you go out there in the first instance?
Well, it was just a few days after the storm hit. I got a message from a dear friend who I've worked with in Haiti and Japan. And also in Pakistan. His name is Armadeus Davidson, and Armadeus leads a group and founded a group in America called Impact Northwest, and they are a group of firefighters and rescuers, paramedics, disaster specialists from the Seattle, Washington, Tacoma, Washington area, and they were planning a possible deployment. And so we began talking about the possibility of their deployment and my deploying with them. And as we monitored events for the next couple of days, we decided that we would be going and that I would be assisting their efforts in whatever way I possibly could, as well as doing what I always do in disasters, which is help with logistics and collect information for anyone and any organization who is working in the disaster zone, and also those who will be coming to the disaster zone later, and also was working with a group of Rotarians in New York City so that we could give them information and also liaison them with Rotarians on the ground, because I am with a Rotarian, I'm with a Rotary Club in New York, so as a Rotarian, I was, trying to put people together, communicate with them, and communicate the needs of the people on the ground so that they could respond better.
So, I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. It's really great that you went out there and you made yourself available to this group to help them out.
It is a hot one out here in the Philippines, Bantayan Island. Here we are, CDRS, Rotary Club International, Makati West Rotary Club, the Georgetown Hoyas, the International Rotary, or Rotary International that is, all doing some good stuff for the people affected by the Typhoon Haiyan. We've been handing out food today, water, to about 60 families, food packs and clothes and water, and to about 600 people. We've been giving out water today. We had a lot of water. Justin, right here. Justin, this guy. Down. Down. Justin, right here.
You're in the Philippines, obviously. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about what it was like there, what the atmosphere was like in the Philippines in the aftermath of everything that's happened.
Sure. Well, I mean, first of all, I was in Boston when I got the call, and I was doing a fundraiser for my organization, a concert with a guitar player, virtuoso, amazing musician named Usman Riaz, the youngest TED fellow, and he's a very good friend of mine. We've been performing together in Pakistan, and as well as this fundraiser that we did. So I was in Boston for that with the Harvard Pakistani Student Association, and pretty much left that night and made it down to Connecticut for another small fundraiser the next afternoon, and then drove straight to the airport and got on a plane with my son and an assistant, Gulmina Mahmood, who's been working with me. She works with the UN and actually the UN Pakistan mission. So the three of us went very quickly on very short notice, got all our things together so that we could be self-sufficient once on ground, whether that be our food and snacks and things. And so we met up with the team in Manila, and we flew down to Tacloban on a U.S. Marine Corps Osprey, which is one of those amazing machines that's kind of a helicopter airplane hybrid. And it was pretty spectacular and amazing just to be able to ride in one of those machines, something I never thought I'd do. Very few people who are not in the Marines get a chance to ride in one of those. And it's always nice to see those machines be used for life-saving.
No, absolutely. I guess it's incredible all the things that you're exposed to being in these environments, and obviously you get to see some phenomenal things alongside the very distressing things that you get to see as well. So, I mean, being in that environment, seeing the situation and how people have responded to it, what would you suggest and what would you recommend that other people do to get involved, what they can do to help the situation in the Philippines, people maybe in the UK or in Pakistan or around the world?
Well, right now, I think that rebuilding efforts are underway. So there were so many homes destroyed, schools, buildings. There's going to be a lot of reconstruction taking place in the country over the next few years. And so I think that for people that want to donate, the emergency phase of food and water, those types of things are largely managed. When it comes to international donors and supporters, I think that concentrating on helping to build a school, to help build a neighborhood or a village, to assist in funds for those kind of reconstruction efforts, and then also the mental health aspect. A lot of people don't think about it, but people that have been traumatized in these disasters have lost family members, have lost their income and their job, have lost all means to sustain themselves and their families, have even lost in many cases, their entire villages, and all their neighbors have also lost everything, and everything that they knew has been destroyed. And in a system overwhelming type of disaster where things take a long time to come together, the more people around the world that can assist and help, obviously the more people will be served. So I think that rebuilding is where people can look at those efforts, and also find those organizations and do some homework to see what best fits the budget of each donor, and what they want to do, how much they want to spend, and what the needs are. So my recommendation is to look at least 10 or 15 different operations that are doing rebuilding work, and either try to support them all a little bit, or pick a couple that you really think that what they're doing is what you want to be involved in, and then give. And then also people can look at long-term efforts who want to volunteer. There would be organizations that may need carpentry expertise, or people that would go and help in rebuilding efforts, not just with their money, but with their time and expertise.
Hello. How are you?
4 years old.
Say hello. Say hello, guys. Mabuhay? 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 What is Mabuhay? Mabuhay! 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 Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got CDRS, Rotary Club International. We've got Makati West Rotary Club. They're our sponsors. The MOF company, all supporting the victims of Typhoon Haiyan. We have the Consulate of the Republic of Estonia and Republic of Lithuania, and the Georgetown Hoyas of Washington, D.C., all putting together this truck and this aid and this water and food and clothing and diapers and biscuits for everyone. So everyone say hello to all our friends. They're saying thank you.
That's brilliant. Are there any organizations specifically that you'd recommend people?
Yeah, the Rotary Club, Rotary International, and the Rotary clubs that are there. There is an effort going on through Rotary International and the local Rotary clubs. There is actually a team of Rotarians that have actually been put together and formed a rebuilding organization specifically for the rebuilding of the Philippines areas that were hit by the storm. I'm in direct touch with those people, and anyone who wants to get in touch with me to go and either volunteer or send money to the Rotary clubs in the Philippines, it'll be all going to one account, it'll all be audited, and then from there they'll make decisions on doling out that money to various projects that they approve, and that they're going to be everything from schools and buildings and homes, villages, to livelihood redevelopment projects of people that lost their ability to earn income and help them rebuild their businesses. So it's a very important effort, and I think there's going to be a lot of great organizations doing great work, but I would highly recommend the Rotary clubs. They are, when it comes to the long-term projects, because they're not a disaster response organization, although they did some immediate emergency aid. But most of the projects that they're going to be undertaking with this effort are going to be long-term projects for sustainability and rebuilding that will have a long-term impact in a positive way on the lives of people affected. And of course, they know the locals, they know the local terrain, they know how to save money and buy the materials locally so that people's money is utilized in the most cost-effective way.
That's excellent advice for anybody that wants to get involved. Obviously, that's brilliant.
Sure, and I'll give my my contact information so that anyone could email me or contact me who wants to get in touch with those folks there. And we're talking about district governor level and some Rotarians that are very high level, and even one of the Rotarians, Mr. Gillard Tumangan, he is an incoming director of Rotary International who is in the Philippines and on this, and he's a very high level person in the Rotary organization, and these are fine people that I've met in Philippines, attended several of their meetings, and if somebody wants to give to them, I think they can't go wrong. It's really being done first class.
So I mean, you're getting a first-hand account on how exactly that the funds are coming through and being used. That's brilliant. I mean, that takes me on to the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, Todd, which was because there's so many causes and there's so many things happening in the world that require our assistance, that require humanitarian aid from time to time. I mean, last year there was there is of course the ongoing Syrian crisis, and there's so many situations. And obviously, you yourself, as somebody who travels the world, fundraising and getting involved in disaster relief situations. I mean, there's this kind of overwhelming, or there's definitely this edge of cynicism creeping in with people who don't take as seriously how people or who question, let's say, the accountability of organizations and how their funds are being used. I mean, you've been there firsthand, so you know exactly how funds are being used. So maybe you could speak to something, to some of the credibility a lot of these organizations, a lot of these people working on the ground have.
Well, you know, there's organizations like Islamic Relief. There's that I've worked with in many disasters who do this amazing work. They are very accountable. Any donor who, anybody who wants to give, whether it's 10 cents or $10 million, they have to be, I know people are busy. I know people have their own lives, and they are absorbed in what they're doing, and that's very important. They should be. People have small children, people have businesses, people have busy lives. They don't have a lot of time, but they should take some time to always research the organization, read their website, call some of the references, and if they have, you know, any doubts, then they should ask questions and find out what the answer is. So I think that it's never an excuse. That nobody really has a good excuse in this day and age in this world to not give it all because they just say, well, it's too hard to find somebody to trust. There are so many trusting organizations and trustable organizations out there. Doing a little homework, people can find them. They're there, and they're everywhere. Every disaster, in every situation, there are dishonest people. There are people that take advantage. There are opportunists. But smart donors know how to find the right people. And I don't want anybody to use these things as an excuse to not give, because it's not a good excuse. It's really not. And I believe that the world today has about 70,000 people dying every single day of preventable things: disease, war, conflict, hunger. And with 70,000 people dying today of these preventable causes, I believe that everybody has a responsibility to give some of their time and effort and money towards helping the suffering, even not in disaster times. I myself have given the last more than a decade of my life. I don't have money to give, but I can give my time and my expertise in logistics. So I've not only talked the talk, I've walked the walk, and everybody needs to do that. They might not need to go to the extreme as I do. Not everybody can, because they do have responsibilities and obligations of their own. But everybody can give something, and in this world, in the shape it's in, everybody's needed. And those who don't give and don't help their fellow man and only worry about themselves are doing themselves and the whole world a disservice, and they're shortchanging themselves, because giving to others is probably the most rewarding thing that you can do. I don't go to these disasters to get an adrenaline rush. I hate going to disasters. It's terrible to see those who have died and suffering, and those who have survived, and the children suffering, and it's a very sad thing. But I have a responsibility because I know how to help them, and help them we must. And that's the attitude I have. And so I think everybody can give something.
That's very well put, actually. And just an addendum to that is, in the UK we have obviously the Charities Commission, which has a set criteria, and it recommends charities. Then it holds them accountable to certain standards as well, so that you know exactly what's happening. So within the UK you have things like that. I'm sure there's other organizations around the world that monitor things as well, that give you organizations more credibility. So as you say, if somebody goes out there, does the research, they can find any answer to their cynicism. And I mean,
for instance, if I could just give you a for instance, my organization, Comprehensive Disaster Response Services, has a project in the Philippines, a small project, and we are helping with some livelihood redevelopment, helping to rebuild some schools in Bantayan Island and Tacloban. And we are, through the UK and through the US as well, global giving. So somebody could go to globalgiving.org and look up my organization, Comprehensive Disaster Response Services, and they could find our project to help the Philippines, and they can donate to that. By donating to that, you get the guarantee through Global Giving's network that for 7 years straight in Pakistan, and into our 8th year, we have passed their due diligence check, their program and financial audits, and they take a look at our programs and what we're doing, and then they either would approve of a project or disapprove. So we have passed that every year. We're a superstar rated agency. And in both the UK and US, they're registered as one of the top line charities. In America, there is a charity rating organization called Charity Navigator, and they have the top rating. So when you give to our organization through Global Giving, which is at this point the legal and a proper way for any UK citizen or US citizen to give to our projects, then they have that guarantee that this organization is looking after the funds that they take in for the projects around the world that they support. And so the people get the benefit of that, plus they get the benefit of whatever government benefits for their charitable giving come through in tax relief, things like that. So this is exactly what we have. And although we're a small organization and our footprint is smaller, the lives that we touch really appreciate the work that we do, and we do very big work in a cost-effective way. Although organizations like Islamic Relief and the Rotarian clubs, they do mega projects, and they help thousands and thousands and thousands of people, in fact, in some cases, millions. So I would suggest that people should give to both the small and the large organizations, because the large organizations do big, big work and affect so many thousands of people. The small organizations can catch people that have fallen through the cracks in the system and find people that otherwise may have missed out. So the giving, I think, is good if you spread around. Just like if somebody diversifies their investment when they want to make dividends and make money for their family, and they invest in not just one company, they'll take their stockbroker to task and say, you know, that my portfolio should have many companies and invest. So in the same way, you can invest in different countries, in different suffering communities, and different disasters, and with many different organizations of many sizes, and I think multiply exponentially the amount of good that you can spread around the world.
Excellent. And again, very well put, Todd. So maybe we could talk a little bit more about CDRS and the work that you guys have been doing. You've obviously responded to so many situations around the world, and you've been going for such a long time. What made you personally? I mean, you've already mentioned that you don't like going to these disasters. They're not exactly heartening places to be. They're really harrowing places to be when you go to places that have been affected by disasters. What made you personally get involved in wanting to get involved with disaster relief and humanitarian aid?
Well, I lost my mom when I was 12. She died tragically and suddenly, and so like anyone else who's lost their parent at a young age, or even at any age, it's a very obviously a traumatic thing in a person's life. And having never forgotten what that feels like, when I see other people going through that, I want to do what I can to help them. So when it comes to the disasters that I've responded to, the thing that's common in all of them is that you're there to try to comfort people who have lost loved ones, their property, their lives, their livelihoods, and you're there to try to give them whatever resources that you possibly can so that they can rebuild as quickly as possible. And then you want to try to help your fellow responders with any logistical support or information, communications, so that they can do their jobs better. I realized that I was good at that. Unfortunately, on 9/11, I was there. In New York, I'm a musician. I would much rather use my days and time writing songs and playing music and wandering around the world playing my guitar and singing. But that's not the world I live in. I don't live in that world where I can feel right about so many millions and billions of children suffering below poverty line in disasters. I cannot enjoy my musical wandering minstrel life without a care when I know this is going on. Before 9/11, as a musician, the only way that I knew to help my suffering fellow man was to use my music to perform benefits or raise money through music, write songs that I thought would be helpful to people. Since 9/11, I learned that I was very good at logistics, getting supplies to people in a chaotic situation, making sure that whether it's a firefighter or a doctor or a rescuer, that if I could help them with all their supplies and logistical needs, comfort, items, transportation, communications, anything that they needed, so that they didn't have to worry about acquiring those things. Because the more time that they have to spend acquiring those things, the less time they have to do what they're actually trained to do. So we want, my team and I, what we want is to be able to help people who are trained get to a disaster zone, get into a disaster zone, and be able to respond in a way that they're trained to do without having to worry about all those other things. So whether it's tents and blankets or a campsite or fuel or security or helicopters, that's our job to manage for them. And we have done that in Haiti, in Japan, in Pakistan's floods and earthquake, Sri Lanka, Hurricane Katrina. And in each and every disaster, you run across very similar ways to respond, but you also find a very different situation, and you learn new things each and every disaster. Not a single person who does disaster relief could honestly say that they have stopped learning. If they come to a point where they think they've learned everything about themselves and the disaster zones, whenever they go into a disaster, they're lying to themselves, or maybe they're too overconfident, because you always learn something new, and then you can put that on, and that can help you in the next disaster.
Todd, this has been really, it's been brilliant. I'm really pleased that you're doing the work that you're doing, and your organization's continuing to be so helpful. And just keep going. Do everything that you're doing. You're doing some wonderful work, and we're all really proud to know you and to know what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. Anybody that wants to look at our website and support the work we're doing, it's www.cdrspakistan.org. And our primary work is in Pakistan. After I came with a group of Pakistani American doctors in 2005 to respond to the earthquake in the Kashmir and northern Pakistan region, I came to go for a couple weeks, fell in love with the children, realized that it was going to be a long-term mission that needed a lot of support. So I stayed, registered my own organization there. As I said, we're supported by Global Giving in States and in UK. We have a lot of partner organizations that we've worked with who can vouch for our work and our expertise. In 8 years in Pakistan, we are very highly regarded in the villages that we serve. We've won a medal from Pakistan. So if you want to support a small agency doing big work in many places, we're certainly one organization. But I would never recommend that somebody only support our organization. My whole thing is that people should work together. Organizations should work together. My organization has had many partners, large and small, in Pakistan and abroad, international organizations, right down to small community organizations. And I would highly encourage donors to support as many different organizations as they can.
That's very well put. One more time, Todd. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to let you get some rest. I know it's about 10:30 in the evening in Islamabad, but thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us. Maybe one last word about what people can do, again, to contribute to the situation or to help the situation in the Philippines.
Well, first of all, thank you, brother. Thanks to Apex. TVapex is a wonderful people and a wonderful channel, and I've had very positive experiences with the team whenever I've come to UK, and I wish you continued success and growth in everything that you all do. And if you want to help our mission in the Philippines, you can go to globalgiving.org, and they have a page about their Philippines work. We're one of the organizations you can contribute to, or you can look up our page by searching for Comprehensive Disaster Response Services and donating to our Philippines efforts or to our Pakistan efforts. God bless everybody out there. And if you have a warm bed to sleep in tonight and a full belly, and your children have a school to go to, and they live in a place of stability, then thank God, and then try to do something for those kids who don't have those things. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Todd. Thank you very much for joining us one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Todd Shea joining us from Islamabad. He's working tirelessly with his organization around the world. There is a situation in the Philippines. You can find out more by looking at the Global Giving page that Todd mentioned, and of course the CDRS website, CDRS Pakistan website. Thank you very much for joining us. My name's Atif Nawaz. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you.
Okay, bye.